He drove from several states away just to have the chance to put his hands on a child. In August 2022, a man from Plainville, Illinois contacted a woman from Arkansas. He was interested in having an experience with her two daughters, a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. The two chatted on a website that was meant to connect people that had a certain fetish, I guess you could say, but they soon moved to text message, and they text messaged for a few days about this man named Thomas Riemer, who would be meeting this woman and her two children. Thomas Riemer, who was 63 years old, talked about what he would be bringing with him. He was going to bring candy. He was going to bring a vibrator. He was going to bring other toys that were to be used for the children. Thomas Riemer talked about how he did photography on adults, like erotic type photography, and offered to take pictures of this mom and her two children. To which the mom was kind of like, do you think that that's a good idea? I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want those kind of pictures getting out. Do you like those kinds of pictures? And he said that he didn't really look at those kinds of pictures, but if he took those pictures, he wouldn't be just showing them around everywhere because he didn't want the additional problems that could come from having those sorts of pictures. He talked about how he had essayed a 13-year-old neighbor in the past. The mom and Thomas Riemer chatted about this for 4 days. 4 days. They arranged to meet up on August 9th, 2022. Thomas Riemer just couldn't wait to meet these two little girls that he was going to assault. So like I said, this man was traveling from Plainville, Illinois to Benton County, Arkansas. That is a trip just short of 400 miles to grape two little girls. In the early morning hours of August 9th, 2022, when Thomas Riemer got to Benton County, Arkansas, it wasn't a mom and her two daughters that he met. It was actually police. There were never two little girls that were going to be meeting this man. It was part of a sting operation. Thank goodness. So Thomas Riemer was arrested. He did admit to chatting with the mom. He did admit to sending everything, to bringing candy and a vibrator with him. But he said that he drove all that way, that almost 400-mile trip, to give the candy and the vibrator to the mom, and then he was going to turn around, go back to Illinois, and take his dog to the vet. Thomas Riemer was arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit rape, internet stalking of a child, traveling with the purpose of an unlawful sex act with a minor, and in possessing an instrument of crime. He was also charged with possessing, distributing, or viewing CSAM. That was all in Arkansas State Court there in Benton County, and that case is still ongoing. But since Thomas Riemer took his trip to Arkansas, he not only had the opportunity to get up close and personal with the Arkansas criminal justice system, but he also got well acquainted with the federal court system. In November of 2022, Thomas Riemer was charged in a 2-count indictment in federal court. Count 1 was the attempted enticement of a minor to engage in sexual activity. And it says the defendant made arrangements with an undercover officer posing as a mother of a 4-year-old female and a 10-year-old female to engage in sexual contact with the minor females. Count 2 was attempted travel with intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct, which I don't understand the attempted part because he actually did travel from Plainville, Illinois to Bentonville, Arkansas. But in 2023, Thomas Riemer actually accepted a plea deal. He entered a guilty plea on count 2, which would be the attempted travel, and in exchange for that, count 1 would be dismissed. In December 2023, Thomas Riemer was sentenced to 135 months in federal prison with a 15-year supervised release after. So 135 months, that would be 11 and a quarter years in prison. And I want to say, like I say in all my videos about federal sentences, in federal court, you have to serve 85% of your sentence. That would put him at serving 9.5 years in federal prison. It's not like Arkansas State Prison where you serve a small portion and then you get released. But even still, usually I am really on board for federal sentences. I find them to be pretty fair considering you have to serve such a large portion of your sentence. But in this case, I feel like they really missed the mark. This person traveled almost 400 miles to have sexual contact with a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I don't feel like the sentence that he received in this case really sent the proper message. No, he didn't actually meet up with anybody. It was all just a setup, fortunately. But the intent to meet up with these children was absolutely there. And I don't think that that should be overlooked just because he didn't actually meet up with anyone.